811.
Now, Jake Tapper and the media have ignored a lot in order to attack Trump and to demagogue this issue, including another Washington Compost piece. I just read you one from March 11, 2015, which I referred to earlier in the week, if not last week. Then there's one January 2016. The Obama administration failed to protect thousands of Central American children who have flooded across the U.S. border since 2011, leaving them vulnerable to traffickers and to abuses at the hands of government-approved caretakers. A Senate investigation found at no time did Laura Bush write an op-ed. At no time did Michelle Obama have a chat with her husband. At no time were any of the Democrats who are squawking now squawk back then. At no time did Jake Tapper find this important enough to talk about. Hollywood, absolutely silent. The Office of Refugee Resettlement, an agency of the Department of Health and Human Services, failed to do proper background checks of adults who claim the children, which is exactly what the Trump administration is trying to do. Allowed sponsors to take custody of multiple unrelated children, which what the Trump administration is trying to prevent, and regularly place children in homes without visiting the locations, according to a 56-page investigative report. And once the children left federally funded shelters, the report said the agency permitted their adult sponsors to prevent caseworkers from providing them post-release services. Nazi Germany? Question mark? Senator Rob Portman initiated the 6-month investigation after several Guatemalan teens were found in dilapidated trailer park near Marion, Ohio, where they were being held captive by traffickers and forced to work on a local egg farm. The boys were among more than 125,000 unaccompanied minors who've surged into the United States since 2011, fleeing violence and unrest in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Here's your left-wing policies. It's Trump who's having to deal with them. It's Sessions who's having to deal with them. That is the results of these left-wing policies. They are inhumane. They lack compassion, just like Jake Tapper and the whole phalanx of miscreants and malcontents on MSLSD, CNN, and all the rest of them. Never said a damn thing. Never said a thing. It is intolerable that human trafficking, modern-day slavery, could occur in our own backyard, Portman said in a written statement. What makes the Marion cases even more alarming is that a U.S. government agency was responsible for delivering some of the victims into the hands of their abusers. What do you say, Laura Bush? Michelle Obama? Barack Obama has the gall to put out a statement today about Trump. The report concluded that administration policies and procedures were inadequate to protect the children in the agency's care. HHS spokesman Mark Weber said in a statement that the agency would review the committee's findings carefully and continue to work to ensure the best care for the children we serve. The report was released ahead of a hearing before the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations. Portman chairs it. Claire McCaskill is the ranking Democrat. It detailed nearly 30 cases where unaccompanied children have been trafficked after federal officials, released them to sponsors, or where there were serious trafficking indicators, and it goes on and on and on and on. A little over a year ago, year and a half ago, not a damn word out of Jake Tapper's mouth. Nothing. No executive orders from Obama, I'll tell you. Nothing. Incredible, no? The Intelligencer, New York, January 29, 2016. While the Obama administration was doing nothing to block the Russian interference in our election, they were perpetrating these activities. Eric Levitz, the United States government, placed an unknown number of Central American migrant children into the custody of human traffickers after neglecting to run the most basic checks on these so-called caregivers, according to a Senate report. In the fall of 2013, Obama, tens of thousands of unaccompanied minors traveled to the U.S. southern border in flight from poverty and gang violence in Central America. At least 6 of those children were eventually resettled, and we get into the egg farm and so forth. And there's a lot more that these multi-billion-dollar media corporations fail to cover. That's why, Jake Tapper, you're the liar. You're the fraud. When the president said he inherited this, these were Democrat policies, he was right. A left-wing judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. A left-wing judge, left-wing policies. He was right. He wants to secure the border so fewer and fewer illegal aliens come into this country. Jake Tapper, the media, and the Democrats will not accept it. They won't secure the border. So more and more people come here illegally, and there are consequences. There are many evil people, drug traffickers, pedophiles, all kinds of people who are dragging kids across the border in order to get into this country. And we are trying to separate the good from the bad. And we are attacked as running concentration camps or internment camps. By a former first lady, by another former first lady, by a former president under whom this activity was taking place. By a media in the aggregate whose asses are in Washington, D.C., and they never get off their fat asses to find out what's going on, because they don't care. They heard this could be used against Trump, and off to the races they are. Well, they're really enforcing the law, though, really separating the... Now the president signs an executive order, which in my humble opinion, he really had to do, but, just so you understand, will eventually be shot down. Because it violates that federal court order. Because Chuck Schumer said, use your pen, Mr. President, use your pen. We can't get legislation passed here. Exposed himself again as the political snake oil salesman he is. They don't give a crap about kids. I've said it day in and day out. The Democrat Party and the abortion industry are tied at the hip. No abortion is too many abortions for the Democrats. The last second, the last day, the last week, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Planned Parenthood, despite what was uncovered with Planned Parenthood, with undercover videos. You want to talk about Nazi concentration camps? What happens? The left unleashes their prosecutors against the men and women who expose them. But they care about children, don't you know? They drive up the debt that our children are going to suffer under, that will drive down this economy. They're passing a massive debt to children yet born, and they claim to care about the kids. They care about government and power. That's what they care about. It's that simple. And for anybody, media type, former first lady, former president, members of Congress, leaders of the Democrat Party, certain members of the Republican Party, to compare this to Nazi Germany and the concentration camps, or the Japanese internment camps under Franklin Delano Roosevelt, is unconscionable. Absolutely unconscionable. Jake Tapper. What a pathetic joke. All of the fourth and fifth tier failing journalism students popping off because of cable TV. Embarrassing. The Hate America First crowd. Meanwhile, their next step is exactly what I said. Let them go, because you cannot detain them forever. Is forever 30 days? Yes, it's forever. Let them go. They're going to go into federal courts. They're going to cherry pick. They're going to look for an Obama judge. like this Jackson in Washington, D.C., who puts Manafort in prison before his trial. Or the ones in California, or the ones in Maryland, or the ones in Seattle. Yes, they're going to look for the Obama judges, the ACLU, the ethnic front groups, the Democrat Party. Let them go. Let them go. We can't keep these families locked up like this in these concentration camps and internment camps. This is un-American. We cannot do anything. You can't do this. Look at the psychological effects. And never will they mention who's responsible for being here in the first place illegally. They'll never mention it. When you mention the consequences to American society, to supporting such politics, they don't want to hear it. When you mention the murders and rapists and other thugs that you've led into this country with open borders, they don't want to hear it. When you mention the growth of MS-13, they don't want to hear it. They'll tell you who's going to pick the lettuce, who's going to cut your lawn, who's going to clean your house. We know these deplorable Americans, they're not going to do it, the lazy bastards. No. The poor and illiterate from around the world, they'll save America. And one day they'll also vote Democrat. And that's the nub of the matter. The media were just as furious as the Democrats when Trump won election. Because they're one and the same. We are being treated, the American people, you and I, we are being treated like they treat the people in the third world under dictatorships. Our media is not a free media. It is a groupthink media. It is a media that drives an ideological agenda. It started about 100 years ago, but it's really picked up since Reagan, and it's completely out of control today. And the president is right to call them the fake media. He's right to call them out by name. He's right to call out specific media corporations. And when he does, they claim that he's harming the First Amendment and freedom of the press. The sanctimony and snobbery of the media today is beyond the pale. Beyond the pale. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.